We, the people of India, have solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign democratic republic.
The Constitution doesn't save itself. People save the Constitution through litigation, through advocacy, through organizing. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Picture this. It's 1950 and India is just 3 years into independence. The Constitution is brand new. The Supreme Court is finding its feet. And a fiery journalist is about to make history with one of the first major legal battles in independent India. Today, we are unpacking Romesh Thapar versus State of Madras, a case that shaped free speech and set the tone for our democracy. Let's dive in. First, some context. India became independent on August 15, 1947. And by January 26, 1950, our constitution was in place, promising fundamental rights like free speech. The Supreme Court of India, which was established that same day, was ready to protect these rights. But the country was still figuring things out. New laws, new courts, and a government balancing freedom with control. Enters Romesh Thapar, a bold journalist who wasn't afraid to challenge the system. Meet Romesh Thapar, a bold communist thinker and editor of Crossroads, a left-leaning English magazine in Madras, now Chennai. He was a Marxist thinker, super critical of Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru's policies, especially on foreign affairs. Thapar's articles, including ones reporting violence that killed 22 communists in Salem prison, were seen as too provocative. A communist movement was gaining traction in Madras. Then, the Madras government banned Crossroads under the Madras Maintenance of Public Order Act, saying it threatened public safety and public order. Thapar was not going to give up. He took the fight to the Supreme Court, arguing that this ban violated his right to free speech under Article 19 of the Constitution. This was one of the first big tests for India's new judiciary. The case, Romesh Thapar versus State of Madras, hit the Supreme Court in 1950. Thapar's team argued that the ban was too vague and crushed free expression. The government countered that Thapar's articles stirred unrest and the ban was needed to keep order. The stakes were huge. This wasn't just about one magazine. It was about whether the government could silence the critics without clear justification. The Madras government had a defense, and their advocate K.R. Iyer argued that the ban was justified and also that Thapar should have gone to the Madras High Court first under Article 226 before approaching the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, led by Chief Justice H.J. Kania, had to decide, how far does free speech go in a young democracy? Now comes the day of the final verdict, a game changer. On May 26, 1950, the Supreme Court delivered a historic verdict and ruled in Thapar's favor. They struck down the Madras ban, saying it was unconstitutional unless it directly threatened the security of the state. The court clarified that free speech under Article 19(1)(a) could only be restricted for serious reasons, not just because the government didn't like what was said. This was a massive win for press freedom and a warning to the government. You can't just ban voices you disagree with. So, why does this case matter? Romesh Thapar versus State of Madras wasn't just independent India's first big Supreme Court case. It set an example for free speech. It told the world that India's judiciary was serious about protecting constitutional rights. The ruling also led to the First Amendment of the Constitution in 1951, which added public order as a ground to restrict free speech, but only under strict conditions. This case showed the Supreme Court's power to check the government, a role it has been playing ever since. Now, penning down the absolute first legal case in independent India is tricky. Court records from 1947 to 1950 are spotty, and many early cases were minor or unreported. But Romesh Thapar stands out because it was one of the first to reach the Supreme Court and deal with a core constitutional issue. It paved the way for future landmark cases like those on fundamental rights and equality that defined India's legal landscape. It was a bold step for a young nation, proving that free speech and a strong judiciary are the heart of our democracy. So, what's your take on this case? And which landmark Indian case should we cover next? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe for more history deep dives. Until next time, stay curious.